All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Steve, if you'd lead us in a short prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, we come before you this morning, hopeful that you'll guide us and direct us as we go about the business of this county. Help us, Lord, to keep in mind the best interests of our residents and those that we serve. And ask all these things, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Steve. All right, have you gentlemen have a chance to look at the minutes from May 8th of 2024?
Accept, or make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion carries. Minutes approved. Thank you. All right, Tony, what do you have for us?
First thing I have is weekly allied health insurance claims. Those claims are in the amount of $24,798.97. You have prescription and RX at $21,571.59, and medical $3,667.38. And you had some voids of $440 for a total of $24,798.97.
Very good. Any questions on that?
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
Okay.
Next, we have the accounts payable claims, which you should have received via email. And those are in the amount of $697,085.22, $697,085.22.
Any questions on claims, on any individual claims or overall? Right now, I accept a motion to approve the claims as presented.
I read through the claims. I didn't see anything that concerned me. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay. We have the monthly weights and measures report from Inspector Dan Hackman. Eric, I've got you and Jim copies over here.
Good.
And I passed that out to you all prior to the meeting. For the month, looks like 128 inspections.
All right, unless you've got any questions on that, I accept a motion to enter that into record.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And we have workers' comp to Eastern Alliance in the amount of $4,308.56, $4,308.56, and I'll pass that down so you guys can look at that.
Oh, good. That's a
Workers' comp.
very good.
That's Eastern Alliance, right?
Eastern Alliance,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, once you've had a chance on that, to take a look at that, I accept a motion to approve that claim as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay. And we have the USI Insurance Services LLC payment, quarterly payment, $9,000 to USI, which is the same thing we're doing with Shapley, only it's USI. $9,000.
All right.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion,
What does USI do, Tony, again? I don't.
That's our insurance, consulting.
Consultant, okay.
Bless you.
That's an annual.
all right, motion to approve the claim as presented.
Wait, see, we had another one. Payroll time card approval. You should have received that via email. That's for the department heads for y'all to peruse payroll time card approval.
All right, have you had a chance to look at those?
I did.
Okay,
Make motion to approve.
Second.
all right, motion carries.
Okay, and then we will need to take from county general, move it into commissioners so that we can pay all the health insurance claims. We do that every year, and that amount that you're moving over, I would need a motion to approve for the 2024 health insurance contribution in the amount of $1.7 million.
Make a motion to move that $1.7 million over.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
And then we have payroll claims, and the payroll claims are in the amount of $390,845.36. $390,845.36.
Okay, any questions on payroll?
Make a motion to make payroll.
Second.
All right. Motion carries.
Double check here. I got that, I got that, and that. And I believe that's all I have, gentlemen. Eric, do you and Jim need anything copied or anything that you didn't?
Not right now. The health insurance, that was moved from general to
It's
what?
going from county general into the commissioner's budget so we can pay health insurance claims. You've got
To
a
what fund? The health fund, or what do you call it?
health
Health
insurance.
insurance fund, okay.
Moving from savings to checking.
You gotta be able to pay the bills when they come due.
All right, in discussion as to our change in meeting schedules, we would like to discuss going to meetings every Tuesday, and on the day when council meets, we would still like to keep our meeting start time at 10 o'clock. So discussion on that.
No, I'm good with that. I think we,
Yes, I'm good with that.
Okay.
and I think keeping it at 10 o'clock makes sense.
Yes.
There may be some times when we bump right up against the council meeting ending, but we'll figure it out.
And I don't think that's an issue with the recording that I am aware of.
Okay.
I think if nothing, well, I don't think that will be an issue that I don't
Good
know
point.
until I ask Ethan about it. Because usually when the council meeting's over, I end it. And then when the commissioners start, I start it right back up, so we shouldn't have a problem.
Okay.
But I'll talk to him about it. We need a,
July 15th.
The other thing was, Steve Coons and I are both going to be gone for the first week of July, or no, not the first week.
The weekend of July.
July 16th, I believe it is. Is that our July meeting?
So we
I
just,
have a calendar in front of me.
16th of July.
16th is July. Yeah, that's our July meeting. And you'll both be gone and not available, so that just
Right.
leaves me. So I'm assuming at that point.
That's not a quorum.
We need to cancel that meeting.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else we can do. Just mark-
July 16th.
So I think you cancel that one.
If they're both gone on the July 6th meeting and they're unavailable, they can't join by Zoom or anything, and Steve Bailey's the only one left, we have to cancel the meeting.
Yeah, unless we've approved, meeting by Zoom. We did that during COVID.
Well,
I think that expired.
Neither of them are
They
available
really
via
aren't
Zoom.
available by Zoom, so.
Oh, well,
So-
then, yeah, you can't do anything.
Do they need to make a motion today on canceling that meeting?
I would.
Okay.
I make a motion that we cancel the meeting on July 16th.
I'll second that since I'm not going to be here, so.
Yeah.
Steve Bailey, or anybody. When the motion was made to resume
Mhm.
the Tuesday meetings of the council, did we have in the minutes that it would be 11 o'clock? Do we need a motion to change that to 10 o'clock?
I don't
Do you
think we
remember?
had the starting time in the
We just
motion,
had that you were going to start meeting again.
but we can clean that up with a motion if you
Yes.
want.
Do you think that would be smart, Mark, just to be safe? Because I can't remember in the minutes when they,
I'll make a motion that our starting time's at 10.
10?
Yep.
Okay,
For the meeting that we're resuming.
Yes.
just kind of want to
Second.
cover us there.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I don't know if I had anything else for you, Tony, unless you've got anything else right now for us.
No, I'm just going to include those two motions you just did, and that's all that I had, so.
Okay. All right. Nate, since you made it back from the dentist's office, let's see what you got.
Yes. Morning. First item is Bridge 40, that's the bridge carrying Washington Street over the Holt House ditch. I'm just requesting approval to issue a request for quotes for a partial deck patching on that bridge. And you have the cover sheet of that plan set. It's just something that I developed in-house. It's just a 4-page plan set with galvanic anodes, patching material. And I have had Engineering Resources do a review of that spec, so I've made some modifications based on their recommendations and some additions to that as well. I think that system works out very well for us. So just asking for your permission to request quotes for that this week. I should have pricing first week or so of June.
Yeah, I thought that piece you sent us was very detailed. Appreciate the pictures. So, yeah.
Make a motion to approve the request for quotes for Bridge 40.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. Did that work out pretty good, just having them review it?
Oh, yeah.
Once you drew it
No,
off?
and the only reason it took that long is because one of the owners was on vacation until last Friday, so
Oh,
probably would have had something back pretty quick.
Yeah.
They gave me a couple of PDF recommendations, some spec notes, and said, here, use our detail for this, so that
Okay.
actually works out very well. And then it's under my stamp, so they don't have any real liability in it ultimately. It's something that I end up taking on, so it works out a little bit better than saying you take responsibility for all of it.
It's gonna be
And then-
you going to jail instead of.
Yeah, that's just us. We got 2 attorneys in the room, so.
Double trouble.
No. And then similarly, I developed a set of plans for overlay of Bridge 132. This is on County Road 500 South, just northeast of Bern, over the Hobbaker Ditch. I'm just requesting approval to issue a RFQ or quotes for a mill and overlay that bridge. That bridge has got an asphalt overlay and but it's a gravel road. So the joints have opened up on both sides and it's actually a bit of a slip hazard with loose gravel on it. So I want to mill that down, put a waterproofing membrane over the top of the beams, and then put that asphalt back over the top of it again. And then we'll also be adding as part of that project, loose gravel signs at both ends and where the pavement ends and begins, because it could be considered an issue. So
Would those be temporary signs or would?
we'll end up leaving those at the edges of the right of way. So those would be permanent. They're just advanced warning signs for the drivers.
Okay.
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, motion carries.
Then regarding an NDOT safety summit, Brad and Paul, as you notice, aren't here. They're covering for me, thankfully, with NDOT at the safety summit. It's pretty much an all morning meeting going through some of the state's initiative regarding road safety, heads up, thumbs downs, a number of the crash statistics in the region. So it's a regional meeting for all of the Fort Wayne district communities, LPAs. So they're covering for us as far as the attendance. NDOT is kind of hinting that there's going to be a special call for federal funding for safety projects here in June. So we're hoping that that'll be some information will be announced at that meeting as well. So if that's possible, then once we've got some more information, we'll be presenting different options as what the county could theoretically do to try to pursue those funds. So I appreciate them going up there to that meeting today, though it may not be all that exciting. It's certainly an open door for some funds for the community, so. And then lastly, standard drawing for joint repairs. I have sent out a draft quote document for joint repairs for Beam Lungs and Neff. There are County Bridge inspector, so you've got a couple of different kind of preventative maintenance projects. Actually, that's the signature page for Bridge 132. So with your approval, if you don't mind signing that, then I'll scan that and put that on this document before I issue it. So before you all leave, if you don't mind.
For Bridge 132.
Need all three of these signed.
And I just need one signed copy back for me, and then I will scan that and put it on as a little image file to that drawing. Sorry, no. What you've noticed here, for one, we did a partial depth patching project, so that's preventative maintenance work and rehab. We're doing a rehab project in 132. Similarly, I'm looking at doing different joint repairs at bridges, and I'm having Beam Longest and Neff look at that. Something I've asked them to do during the countywide bridge inspection is to measure and give me the types of joints, because there are different joint details at different bridges. They've recommended in their inspection, hey, you need to replace the joints at this bridge or that bridge. Well, it's not enough detail to specify that. So what I've asked them to do is to look at a number of bridges, and then as they're doing their recommendation, measure them up and give me the joint type. And then similar to these two, I've got a template that I'm going to use to request quotes for just doing the joint repairs. So again, another one of those things where we're trying to clean up some of that bottom up preventative maintenance work. I'm trying to get standardized documents put together so it's real easy to put together, review, and then I can get some cost-effective quotes for that.
Are
So
those joints metal? Is that how they?
no, they're elastomeric or foam, hot mix, epoxy. So really what that is that joint's there because the beams will move. Even when there's a load on them, they'll press out or heat and cool. So they'll move back and forth. Well, if you've got them bound up and tight, the beam doesn't have room to move. So the ends, the beams will end up corroding and decaying. And that's where all the load is being transferred vertically. That's where you'll end up having 80% of the beam will be in good shape, but the very ends will end up failing. Well, at that point, you end up taking the whole top of that bridge off. So the allowing those joints to be clean and move, it's kind of like arthritis in your knees.
Extends the life of the bridge.
Yeah, I want to make sure that this stays mobile and extend the life of those beams. If I can get 10, 15 more years out of that, again, it's just one of those steps that we can do internally that make good sense for us, so.
Put some CoQ10 in there or something.
Yeah, little Androidin or whatever you want to take, some vitamins for it. That's kind of that's the goal for it. So that's just another type that I'm looking at. So I wanted to let you know that I'm using BLN for that. They're already under our countywide bridge inspection contract. They're perfectly capable to do that for us. So
Very good.
any questions for me?
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. All right, Brad's not here. He had sent me a message that Mike Whirling was gonna present on a
Yeah, I think he sent that to all of us.
yeah. But I don't know if he said anything at the drainage board or not.
Is that about the gates?
No, it was,
Oh, yeah, that, we've already discussed that on the drainage board. Okay.
good. All right, so nothing more.
Just for that.
Rick, what did you have for us
The
today?
ditch you did along with us and everything.
I think the last meeting I mentioned to you about postponement on the generator and the transfer switch. I'll just re-give you those dates again. Generator 6/27, transfer switch 7/15.
So they kind of moved them, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe that.
I can't either. Did you, kind of say, what's going on there?
Would it do any good for us to talk to him at all? or
It's components.
Probably not, or,
But what I did here is, or I should say me and Mike, I didn't think we could wait any longer. We moved the panel from the server room on the other side of the wall.
good, Yeah.
So that's moved.
Yeah.
And then both UPSs now are hooked to our existing generator. You can have a power outage, just how do we do that? Panel
Oh, if
removed.
we'd have known it was gonna be delayed this long, we'd have done that
We'd have
last
done it
winter.
before.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I did have to remove a few things off of our generator, just temporary. It's just a matter of a switch to do it, to allow capacity. Of course, Mike is gone, but I did want to remind us that June 7th, the change management meeting, that's on Friday. I think he'll.
Did he send that to us?
I'm not sure if he did, but and that's to discuss that grant money for maybe the project over at the courthouse.
I don't think he sent an invitation out yet.
Okay. That's that Homeland Security program over there. But I just wanted to give you a reminder because I know he's gone.
And that's June 7th. He wants to do
June
that.
7th, 8:30. Unless it changes. Here at the complex, between the sidewalk and the parking lot, we have a couple dead trees. Just asking permission to remove those. Taken down.
Will they be replaced or just removed?
Well, that's what, to just grind the stumps out later, then replace the trees, or it's pretty noticeable. You see, if you want a couple new trees put in there, we can do that. But I think we do need to remove them.
Make motion to remove those two trees?
Does the city still have a forester on staff at all? or-
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to seek them to do it. Hopefully they'll have time to do it. If not, I'll seek other arrangements for it.
I mean, since Dwight left, I don't know if we ever really
Yeah,
had
I'm not-
anybody.
I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask. Kind of got ahead of myself. I want to go back to that generator thing. It was a good point. Thanks, Steve. I think you brought up, but I did call the salesman from Everpart and said, listen, your delays are hindering some progress for us here. It's going to cost us money to take care of what we got going on here. And I just explained it to him. Our servers are at the end of life. We have new, but we need them powered up. So we're going to have to make temporary arrangements to supply power to that. He said he'd get back with me. So I haven't heard from him, but I put it out there.
Well, I think it's very reasonable. I thought that was a good point that you had.
Depends on how much profit they've got built into this sale.
Yeah,
You and I both know that.
yeah.
Well, they did move that date up.
Yeah. So we'll see, but I did ask. I wanted you guys to know that I did
Good, thank you.
approach and ask.
But even in that negotiation, I mean, if you need one of us to be involved,
Okay.
you know, I'm sure we could accommodate a discussion.
Yeah, and I may even ask him to come in here, so.
You know, now that would be nice to have him come and sit.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
to explain these, listen, I'm telling them what you're telling me, but.
Yeah.
Did somebody start to make a motion on the removal of two trees?
I did. I made a
I
motion.
don't think we ever got a second and we didn't vote, did we?
Removing those two trees.
Yeah, I second it.
Yeah, I did not hear all of that part.
No motion.
Okay.
So it was voted on or approved. Okay.
I didn't hear it.
It's all right.
Let's get some new trees, Mike.
Myself and Steve had a brief conversation, just real quick, email. I'm seeking quotes to get both parking lots resurfaced and painted, which is out here by the complex. We need to get our stripes painted back on there. And then the one over there hardly has any.
the one across from the gymnasium. Try to get those.
The entrance on this one right here's got some really bad holes in it too, right when the entrance here, off the street.
It's what is it, Steve?
Right here onto the parking lot, there's holes and everything else.
There's cracks over here. We need to get it
I just want to make
guess-
sure we didn't lose those parking lots, that's,
resealed.
I guess the one thing I would check, I know we have had some moisture at that north wall. And if that has anything to do with the parking lot and how it's built and how it drains, I guess I would make sure that there's nothing significant that we would have to do to the parking lot before we'd invest a whole bunch of money in resealing and
We need
restriping.
to get the lines painted, but you're right, Stan. Those places that you're talking about, even if we don't redo anything to the top of it, other than get the lines painted and then address that issue.
But yeah, I'd make sure there's nothing, no significant repairs that we have to do before you spend the money on lines and reseal. So we don't have to tear that up again or something.
A lot of other things going on. That's what I want.
Okay.
Any, next Tuesday, I won't be here next Tuesday. So,
we'll miss you. We'll miss you.
when you hear he ain't worth a darn.
We will. I always like getting updates from you. That's
Yeah.
not, that's genuine.
I don't know if it's exciting things. We had a bat out here yesterday. Usually that's September.
In the building?
Yeah, it's right out here in the lobby up there by the game.
Oh,
I'll be darned.
Right there. Pretty big.
everybody get their tennis rackets out?
No, I think for the most part, a lot knew about it, so that was good. I'm gonna get with the clerk's office.
Or you could have caught it and let it loose in the auditor's office.
Yeah,
Yeah, that wouldn't cause any problems.
and I didn't.
He's
I
bad,
didn't
you
know.
know.
I hate the phone. I just took it outside and let it go, so.
You caught it.
Don't want the.
You
People at you.
You need to report that differently. You need to report that you were involved in mosquito control on the
There you
premises.
go.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those heaters.
Yeah.
The 30th of this month, the prosecuting attorney's office is going to be shredding a lot of those documents down there where I got to remove that cabinet. So that'll be going on. So it's kind of a slow process, but they do have a date to remove that.
Do you have a company come in to do that then?
They actually, they took care of it.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
they took care of who they wanted and what they're going to do there. Once those are done, then I'm gonna.
Good.
So, it's going on, but that's all I really got.
Very good. All right.
Sure.
Thank you. Ed, did you have anything for us today?
Just a tiny bit, we are a full week now past our deadline of taxes, and they've been coming in good. We still have a drawer and a half to process, but we're at just shy of $16 million in. That's 81% spring collection, and overall 47%. So we're in real good shape. I expect by this time next week, we'll be in the 90 percentile and with still more to process. I got a bunch of other numbers and stuff we can go over, but I know you got a lot going on today, so that's all I have today.
Well, very good.
Thank you, Ed.
And once again, so far you've made it through the season without additional part-time help.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Good. All right. Mr. Stevens, thanks for coming in today. So,
My purpose in coming here today is simply to get permission to go ahead and hold our Memorial Day celebrations at the Peace Monument as we have in years past. I have the form that is, my understanding, all that is required at this point is approval of the commissioners. And here's my sidekick. I have the form with me. Any questions?
Well, so as far as the time, you're scheduled to start the ceremony at 11 a.m., is that correct?
That's our approximate starting time at the Peace Mine.
Okay, because I think last year, it even ended up starting a little bit earlier because of the scheduling of the parade and stuff like that, so.
Right, and what I've told the guys is we have a ceremony at the Jackson Street Bridge at 10:30, which is part of this. Then after that ceremony, which is relatively quick, 10 to 15 minutes, hopefully, then we march down to Second Street, south on Second to Fourth, and over to the Peace Monument. Hopefully everything will be set up by the time we get there. Then the information I'm putting out is the ceremony starts at approximately 11.
Very good. So your parade starts at?
Immediately after the ceremony on the Jackson Street Bridge, probably about 10:40.
Okay, so you're not
Although
counting,
we will march onto the bridge from the
You'll-
west end of the bridge.
gotcha, okay. I didn't know if you were marching from the Legion Post to the bridge, or,
We talked about that last time we got together, and there aren't all that many of the guys that can actually march anymore.
okay,
So I just said, hey, some of those who can will walk over to the assembly area on the west bank. Others we can drive over and park there at the lot behind the community center.
very good.
Then we'll form up at the west end, march out on the bridge, throw wreaths in the water, and take off to the Peace Monument.
Okay.
A question I had that I forgot to ask you, Fritz. We'll definitely want Court Street to be closed. I'm not sure about the section of Third Street in front of the Superior Court. Can't remember if we closed that in the past or not. Okay.
If you guys.
I guess I'm questioning that too.
Yeah. And I'm not sure who all you've worked with from the city as far, because I know the fire department's always there and they'll raise a flag on Court Street. And then as far as Third Street, I think it is actually closed, so you probably talk to somebody from the city, I suppose, don't you? Yeah.
I've talked to the city, and then this form will go to the city as soon as we're done here, because they meet later today. But I've talked to the fire department, the police department, the street department. And now you.
Okay. Well, it's an honor to have that ceremony there, and it's a privilege to have
Thank you.
the monument. So, yeah, if we've defined the time again, I appreciate that. And so I'd accept a motion to approve the request.
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll vote in favor.
Can I get a signature?
Yep.
What is that day, Carl? The 29th, the 30th? What is that day?
Memorial Day.
It's the 27th. I didn't know the exact day of 27th.
Thank you.
Two. Here somewhere. I don't know.
Please do. I don't see exactly where
I think it's anything on the other.
the sign. There's a lot of places for the city,
Yeah, city.
fire department and street closing. Street.
Don't remember the commissioner signing that in the past, they just approved the use.
Honestly, it's terrible. Terrible.
That's the only signature page I got. Four.
I don't know if the commissioners have signed in the past, I think they just approved the use of the Peace Monument. That's all they really can, that's their, I mean, you want to sign your name on there somewhere, probably fine, but.
See if the city, maybe the city will want to kill the whole thing.
They better not.
Yeah, but
mean, if something goes wrong, it comes back to you, Stan. Because you just signed it.
What could possibly happen?
That's right.
You got a bunch of guys with 100-year-old rifles shooting at the courthouse.
Stumbling along. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh. All right, Mark, did you have anything for us?
I'm just trying to get a final legal description for this Backstone Cemetery deed that we need to have you guys sign, so I think-
Good with it.
we've got a survey, we've got, I'm still trying to get the description for the piece that they're gonna own, and I'm looking through Miller's survey. I know what they need to deed to the county, and then we're gonna deed it to Backstow. But what the church ends up with, we need to deed back to them, and I'm not seeing that description, so I'm trying to coordinate that with Dave Bumgarner here, so. Anyway, we previously discussed it, and we had the survey. I think if I just have a motion authorizing the execution of that deed, once we have it prepared, that'd be fine, so we're just deeding the portion of the property that is owned, should be owned by the church, because I don't know if you recall, the survey line actually kind of cut through the church, and there was some sort of an error in the description way back, so we're just,
Because on the way east side, that's deeded to the church, right? And then ours is in the middle, and then the church is on the west side.
yeah, we're just trying to clear up the lines and then ultimately convey the property that is the cemetery to Backstow Cemetery. There's no reason for the Board of Commissioners to hold title to that. So I think I'll have it probably, I may have it today, but, let me see.
So we must own that at one time just as a pauper cemetery evidently.
Well, here's what's interesting. Yeah, way back. Here's the actual deed to the county. See if you can decipher that, Stan.
What year was that, Mark? What year? 19th century,
Something like
something?
1800 writing there.
18.
Oh, yeah.
Jesse Buffenbarger? There's several Buffenbargers in here.
1833.
Wow, I thought it looked like 1800.
1833, so it's all written out, and it just says, at the top, it says, County Commissioners.
Well, that's
Well,
before we were. a
Young
county.
County wasn't 1836, the county was
Yeah.
born, yes.
Yeah.
There
18,
was no county government.
it looks to me like 1833,
It's territorial.
and it says County Commissioners. But on our records, we say Adams County Commissioners, but then you hold other real estate as Board of Commissioners, County of Adams, State of Indiana. So we're just trying to straighten it out. I could put a recital in the deed, and anyway, it's,
Huh.
yeah, you want a copy of that? Eric, I got it.
Oh, no, I don't need
I
that.
got an extra one,
I
but
don't need that, it's okay. I'll take your word for it.
it's pretty tough to read.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of,
Eric, if you can read your notes, you might be able to read.
that's
theirs.
right, yeah, mine are kind of scrambled, yeah.
1833 is when the commissioners were born.
No, there's no
Fifth
county.
day of October, 1833 is what I'm saying.
Can you believe that the people had the nerve to die before we were even having a government?
That's the daring act.
So anyway, that's, I think that's it. I know we're still working on making some changes to the the ordinances for the county. There was still some things in there that we need to take out and make some
For
corrections.
the unsafe buildings ordinance?
No, the recodification of all the ordinances.
Oh, I see.
So I met with Julie Marie on that, and there's a few changes there. We've got the Word version of it that, could go up on the website, but there's a few things that need to be cleaned up yet before we do that, so. we're working on that.
I think that'll just be real interesting to see, to be able to index all our ordinances and look at them. I think that'll be a good document.
Well, yeah, it's indexed so that you've got, sections, titles, sections, chapters, or titles, chapters, sections broken down, so. But that, going through that index, there's some stuff in there that needs cleaned up.
How many offices do you have in the county at Mark?
Oh,
500 or?
Oh, I don't know. Well, over time, there's,
I mean, there's.
on average, every year, there could be 10, 20 ordinances adopted every year, sometimes less,
You
sometimes
guys make a
more.
motion.
Well, there's some that are outdated.
I made the motion.
I'll second.
Okay. All right, motion carries to go ahead and,
I'll get that prepared, we'll get it
take
signed.
care of that deed, yeah.
But what happens is there's a lot of ordinances that you pass during the year that are not ordinances that we codify.
Oh, I see, okay.
Okay, so like your budget ordinances and ordinances concerning meeting dates and, just general stuff. You don't codify that. Now, if you adopt an ordinance, changes to your zoning ordinance,
So that's a big one.
okay,
yeah.
or subdivision control ordinance, or, drainage and flood control ordinance. When you make changes to those ordinances, the ordinance that you adopt to make the change
That's got-
stands for itself, okay? And so that's like the laws of Congress, okay? So they'll pass law, and they'll pass law as a House bill or a Senate bill, and then it gets approved by both bodies, and it goes to the executive, gets signed, then it becomes law. Okay, but then what happens is that law gets codified. If it's a type of law that should be codified, then in case of the U.S. government, it gets codified in the United States Code.
That's code.
Okay, and then that's why you'll see code sections, USC, title, section, and it gets codified. Indiana,
I see.
session laws get passed, and then if they're codified, they end up in the Indiana code.
That's the I see.
And so then you'll see IC, title for county, title 36-1-12 has to do with public construction. And then all the sections for public construction are under chapter 12. So now it gets codified. And so what happens oftentimes is you may have, like the drainage code, for example, that's 36-1-9, and it has 114 sections. Okay, so if the legislature decides, hey, we're going to make a change to the drainage code, they'll pass a law that changes maybe a couple of paragraphs or a sentence in one or two sections of 114 sections. Okay, so then when that gets passed, then the people that codify the code have to go back and update the code so that you've got a current code.
So it's always current, right?
Yeah, so that's what the county's doing. There's been many ordinances passed over the years. You've got additions of changes in speed limits, you've got stop signs, you've got animal control, you've got, all the other stuff that we've got. Obviously zoning's a big one. And so,
Big deal.
off-road
Yeah.
vehicle ordinances, just general ordinances. When those change, then they need to be updated in the codified ordinances. So that way, when people go to read the codified ordinances, what they're seeing is actually
Got the
current.
right stuff, right? the
Right.
wording.
So,
Did you get all that, or
And yeah,
get that written
I
down?
can paraphrase.
That could be,
yeah.
that could be one article.
Whatever, that's right, yes.
So, that's why, when we went through the old ordinances, you don't want to codify things that have been, or are outdated, that are no longer,
Oh, yeah.
enforceable, or there's been changes in the Indiana code that says that's not regulated anymore. You take that stuff out. You want to add in the stuff that's been adopted and current, and then codify it so people can actually find things. So,
Very important.
and it gets compartmentalized into things like, okay, general administration. So there's a chapter for general administration that says how things should be handled by the executive, by the fiscal body, legislative fiscal body, tax and administration. Then there's sections on land use. Okay, so there's your zoning ordinance, subdivision control, unsafe building, all that stuff will end up in its own chapter or own title. And then you've got public safety. So public safety is going to be, speed limits, stop signs, road use, all that's, in an area. So that way, when you're looking down, if you want to find what's the speed limits, and you want to see all those, then you could go to public safety and you can zero right in on it and you can find it.
They're all listed right there.
Yeah.
That's pretty complete.
Otherwise,
I think that's probably one of the most interesting things about moving, for me, to move from council to commissioners to the legislative side, is because as we look at the legislative part of our job, you know, to understand that we have to not only comply with all the existing ordinances, we have to understand, well, we depend on Mark and Clayton to understand them. But as we create new ordinances, we have to understand that those ordinances have implications for everybody in the county.
Right.
And we
And it's
take,
future too. going
we
ahead.
take that very seriously and it's very interesting. Just like you said, all the sections that compile the ordinances, it's like, we have to create ordinances and understandings of.
Now you got cyber stuff to worry about, all the
Everything from-
computer things, you know, it just didn't have
Yeah.
even 20, 30 years ago. Now you got all that stuff. to
Well,
worry
then you
about.
can have the legislature come along and they'll pass a law that says that any ordinances in conflict with our new statute are void.
Is that right?
Okay, so they did that last year concerning on-site like septic systems and some things like that, and they made some changes. And so now the health department has to come up with a new ordinance,
Really?
and then they have to go through the process of getting approval from the state, because now
Is that right?
you have to get it approved before you can adopt it. So the state can actually pass law that invalidates some of your current ordinances.
That's not good. Yeah.
So based on this conversation, you've just received 2 continuing education credits.
That's right, yeah. Wayside attorney, right?
Yeah.
Very long.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
Yep.
Shannon, did you have anything for us? Okay. All right. The other thing I wanted to talk about you guys is offering an appointment for Katrina Gilbert to the Adams County Health Board. And she is a pharmacist with Adams Health Network. And officially, if you guys are okay with that, we'll prepare the paperwork, or I say we, that means Brooke and I. So we'll prepare the paperwork for her appointment.
No motion.
So,
Make a motion to approve that appointment.
also, we've got some updates on the opioid settlement and distribution, so I do want you to keep that in the front of your mind as far as how we want to handle that this year. So we'll be looking at how much money is available and how we want to use that for the benefit of rehabilitation, so. Let's see, I don't know that I have anything else. I don't think I have anything else to go over. You've had your,
I have a couple things, yeah.
okay,
I almost forgot that I had a request from the Decatur Sculpture Tour. They're going to be having their sculpture tour kick off on June the 8th. And they'll be using the sidewalk around the courthouse to display some of that artwork. They didn't know whether they needed to come and ask permission to use the sidewalk. I know if we were going to use the grounds, the yard or whatever. I just said I would ask you guys if they needed.
I mean, they're not setting any of the statues there permanently.
No. It's a display of that, where they do that, the iron pour molds that Hoosier Patterns involved in.
Oh,
They're going
yeah.
to display those iron pour molds on the sidewalk just on that day. So it's just be utilization of the sidewalk for display of those iron pour molds. I just said I'd bring it to you guys to see if you felt like you needed a motion or whatever, but
Might be a Mark question. I don't, since it's a sidewalk, I don't
well,
know.
that's what the sidewalk's open to
The
public
sidewalk's
use anyway,
public
so
anyway, so I don't think you need a motion. or
I
anything,
didn't think
but-
so.
What?
To put the molds on the sidewalk. It's not a
To
permanent.
put, for one day,
To display them on the sidewalk.
do they have to make a motion and approve putting artwork, iron floor moldings from Hoosier Pattern on the sidewalk?
Yes, I didn't think so either, so.
Now, if we were
That's
to
the reason
put
we
like
hire.
a star in the walk, like they do in front of Grumman's Chinese Theater, you know, that might be different.
Yeah.
No, you probably just do that.
Not permanent.
Okay.
Yeah, just there for
In
the-
addition to that, I think what you're referring to
But I
is.
appreciate the notice, yeah.
Good. We have had
we've had several meetings with the Vision Planning Steering Committee regarding engaging with consultant to assist with that work. I've been working on a request for proposal or an RFP to go out to consultants for them to propose helping us with that work. I sent you guys each a copy of that RFP that's been approved by the steering committee and has also been reviewed by NERC, Northeast Indiana Regional Coordinating Council, and has been approved by Clayton from a legal perspective. I'd like to get that RFP out sooner than later so that we can begin to collect those bids back. There's a timeline baked into that RFP, basically, that asks that their bids be returned by the middle of July, basically. So if we get that out sometime in the next week or so, that'll give them a month and a half to ask any questions they have and respond within the RFP. And as we've mentioned previously, that contract will actually be signed by the commissioners. So it's our contract, it's our work that we'll be contracting for. If you remember, we've got up to $200,000 in ARPA funds reserved to pay for that work. Baked into the RFP is a portion that would be a vision plan for the city of Decatur and a vision plan for the town of Geneva. I've asked them to price that separately so that if city of Decatur and town of Geneva opt to go ahead and engage for that work, that they would be able to pay for that as a separate piece of this engagement. The steering committee didn't feel like it would be appropriate for the county to pay for, since Bern did one on their nickel. Maybe Geneva and Decatur would be interested in doing. I know they've both been talking about it. This would be a great time to do it. It would be helpful to have a vision plan that's the city of Decatur's and the town of Geneva's and the town of Burns, and make sure all that wraps into and fits nicely into the vision plan for the county.
Very good.
Also, a part of that RFP asks that the consultant work with the Plan Commission to review and or revise the long-term comprehensive land use plan, or the county's comprehensive land use plan. So, and I've been working with the Plan Commission and they're comfortable with the language that's in the RFP, and I believe are interested in working with the consultant to help them revise and review the countywide land use plan. So it's a pretty expansive RFP. I know it's whatever it is, 12 or 15 pages long or whatever it is. But we've got a lot of eyes on it. And I would just ask that if you're not comfortable approving it at this meeting, maybe we can get it at the next meeting.
Well,
and the next meeting would actually be fine. I don't need to push it for this meeting.
Yeah, I've had a brief look at it, but it sounds like between the steering committee, between Clayton having a look at it, it sounds like it's had enough eyes on it to see that it's appropriate. So I sure would be fine moving ahead with it.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Move ahead with it.
You guys have both sit on the steering committee meetings and you're comfortable with that. I'll second that motion.
Okay, yeah. So I'd vote in favor of that also, so.
Good deal. We'll
Yeah,
get that-
thanks for
get that
doing
out.
that, and we'll see what we
Work on
can
that.
come up with. So.
Yeah, one more thing.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
sorry about that, Stan. Go ahead.
No, I didn't have anything else.
Before you adjourn, I had one more thing. On the purchase of the flood distressed property out at Oakwood.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got this purchase agreement prepared, and we've got all the language in here and this is for the property to be purchased by with MRBC funds, flood mitigation funds. It'll go to the county, but the funding is coming from that grant and that whole program, and it's coming, purchasing it from the Clarks who own the property. And so the total purchase price, we had the appraisals. Both appraisals were higher than this purchase price. So the purchase price here, which this is all being paid for by the grant, it's not being paid for by the county, but the purchase price is $225,162. And then it's contingent upon the county receiving the funds for the grant buyout. And it's also contingent upon the sellers are paying a portion of the local match. So I have all of that in the contract. I just need a motion authorizing one of the commissioners to sign this agreement. We're going to meet with the Clarks Wednesday, tomorrow. And I don't know, one of you maybe can attend or if you're scheduled to be there. So we're going to meet with them tomorrow and with Rod and talk it over with them again. Hopefully they're on board with this. And if so, we'll get it signed. He can get it turned in and hopefully we can get the thing closed.
Good.
So anyway,
Were we paying part of that match or not, or nothing?
No.
Okay. All right, I'd accept a motion to approve that proposal. So moved.
Second.
Okay, I vote in favor of that also.
In the end, that property is actually owned by the county, is that correct?
mhm.
Okay, so we'll have to mow it or whatever, do some kind of maintenance on it.
That could be, but it's wooded. And so it's going to have an environmental restriction on it and it has to stay.
Stay wooded.
So the house will be removed.
Yeah, as part of the project and
Right.
part of the grant is to remove the house.
Okay, good deal. Very good.
So it's similar to the other buyouts that Decatur has done over the years.
Yeah, it's kind of unusual for the county to do. I don't know if that's the first one they've done for the county.
Seems to me like it's the first one I've seen. Everything else has been in,
All the other ones.
in cities or towns.
We're in the city. Yeah. All right, very good. Anything from the general public? If not, I accept a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All right, meeting adjourned.